Welcome back to Retrotainment Recast. We are back yet again to recast another awesome film. And the boys have rang me up and asked me to get out of my sick bed because I have the COVID. Because poor old Greg had to go to work. So your judge tonight is King Woe. Boys, how are we doing?
Better. It's been a rough week. I think there's a sickness going around the Retrotainment
I think so.
cast. I think we're all getting a dose of something.
I think
But
we were kissing each other at that Christmas party the other night with the mistletoe.
The lads with the weak immune systems have all gotten sick, but my strong immune system has kept me safe. But obviously last week we missed last week due to Carl was quite ill, and we couldn't arrange a time between us due to illnesses. So apologies for an episode being missing last week, but we are just going to continue on here using the film that was meant to be there last week, but without Greg, unfortunately, due to work. He isn't able to get here for this week. So we've brought in the King.
Wow.
What a replacement.
The perennial underdog when he's competing. But a judge that a lot of people don't like when I'm on, so this will be fun. We have a good show, we have a good episode tonight. A great film that I think we all love. We all love it, and the performances of this by the top tier of the cast is spectacular. We're talking about Demolition Man.
Yeah.
And who picked this? Did you pick this, Sherlock? No?
I did.
Sherlock picked this. This was after the dodgeball.
That's right, yeah.
Recast. Sherlock gave us this one.
Good.
I was surprised he went with this now, Carl, because
I know.
All the people that you picked to go against, action films have so far been my forte.
And my downfall.
Yeah, when I did Predator, I smashed the lads in it. When we did Rocky, I smashed the lads in that. These kind of old school action flicks seem to be my forte, but
I don't pick films on, trying to give myself an advantage. I'm picking film on I love this film.
I think Sherlock, I think you're a fighting champion. That's what I think, yeah.
There we go.
I love this film as well, but it is very different to the other ones. In turn, like the other ones were all just, as Big E once famously said, big
don't start that
slapping meat. This one is very different to that. This one is it's more storyline driven. There's a lot less just like big men in it, like really.
I think
Stallone's probably the only real big man in it. Like Snipes is or things like Phoenix. He's not big, like
or athletic. Yeah,
he's an athletic build rather than a big build. Yeah,
such a big character in this, isn't he?
Well, he's brilliant. Yeah, brilliant in it.
Right, then, well, what we'll do is just want to send your lists into the group chat so we know that everyone's on board. And just for everyone to know that I have Greg's list here, not a Craig's list, a Greg's list. And because I just didn't put a list together myself, so in case of a tie break, we'll have that.
Yeah, so I have sent in there now.
Lovely, yeah, have them both in there. Right, I'm just going to go from the way Greg has his list going up to the top. So obviously we'll end it up with
John
Spartan and Phoenix.
Spartan and Phoenix last,
yeah. So we'll go first with what do you call it? Chief
George
Earl, who was Bob Gunton, who was actually a cool kind of a bad guy, isn't he?
He is. He's so odd looking in this.
Yeah.
I kind of went off how odd looking he was here, and I chose someone that would take a role that would make him look odd looking, if that makes sense. But he's still a quality actor.
Yeah.
I went here and I could see him in the exact costume. I went with Ben Kingsley.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good show.
Yeah, he has the weirdness about him.
Yeah.
He does. I went a little bit differently. I went with the way the character is. He's very by the book. Like you kind of think he's a bad guy throughout the film, but he's not really a bad guy. He's just a real stickler for the rules. And I kind of went with that. Very stickler to the rules to the point that he annoys everyone around him.
Sounds like Ted.
No, I'm the one always trying to bend it. That's how I lost the money. I'm always trying to change things up. The person I went with is probably a bit of a bigger actor in size, but that's not really important here because they obviously live in a world where crime isn't an issue,
Good thing.
so it's just a job. And I think it's someone we might not have used before in Michael Chiklis.
Oh, okay.
I don't know that we've used Chiklis before.
I think he might have been used once, but it was.
He's a rare pick.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'd have to.
We've done a good load of these now. I think he was used once, and I think it was a random ass Greg pick.
Yeah,
That's another good shout, though, actually. And of course, he'd have his playing cops background and that kind of thing. I know.
Yeah, well, he was in Gotham, and he's a real stickler to the rules and that. So I usually don't bring Gotham up too much because I think me and you, King, are the only two that have watched it. I don't think the other two boys have actually watched it, but he's in a lot of films where he's kind of an authority figure.
Yeah,
plays an authority figure very well.
Okay, well, both good shouts, just so you know. I will just tell you what Greg put in. He had J.K. Simmons as a backup.
He was my backup.
Yeah. Okay. And he had Richard Jenkins as his main guy. So he would have been the dad in Step Brothers, and he was in was he an Elf? Or no, he was Step Brothers, he was down Step Brothers,
Yeah, I know who he is. A bit old though, I think. I know age isn't a huge thing, but
we've both chosen people that are quite old there now, to be honest.
Well, I mean, Richard Jenkins is in his 70s, isn't he?
He's 75,
Yeah.
Yeah,
what's Kingsley? He'd be in his 70s, wouldn't he?
Kingsley is
Ben
78.
Kingsley, 78,
I did not think Ben Kingsley was 78.
He doesn't look it.
No, I didn't think he was 78. Chiklis is 60, which is a little bit older than the original actor. But he is a little bit older, but he's still, young enough that you could believe he was a police chief and still actively working. Whereas once you're starting to push to your 70s and stuff,
see their rules are different in this alternate future. We don't know all the rules, so you might not have to retire at 66, 65 or anything like that.
Yeah, but the thing is that there's a side character that we're not recasting here that was alive when John Spartan was put into cryogenic freeze 30 years ago, isn't it? Which would mean that, and he knew him. So if we're thinking that the police chief is in his 80s, that means he would have been in his 50s 30 years ago. So he probably would have been working there. So he should know John Spartan, not by reputation, but by having worked with him, is kind of what I'm thinking. That's why I didn't want to go too old when I was going with that.
Okay, well, straight off the bat, as I said, they're both good picks. And the only thing I will say is I like Ben Kingsley. And I know he's older, but he doesn't look as old as his age, I don't think.
Yeah.
And again, it's nothing against Chiklis. I just think Kingsley's a better actor, you know what I mean? So for this one, I'm going to go with Ben Kingsley. So I'm going to go with Carl on that one. So there was nothing wrong with your pick, Ted. Just
no, I kind of, as I said, I strayed away from going any older than I didn't want to go any older than 60 because I was like, if I go too old, then it's kind of, he would have been around.
I didn't check ages on this. I'm going to be honest, and
I think if I had been
there, I was shocked to see he was 78.
If I had been someone who looked 78, I would say absolutely give it to Chiklis, but I think Kingsley could pull that off well.
Yeah.
Anyway,
possibly,
we're gonna go next with Edgar, who was played by Dennis Leary, who was an interesting one.
This is a strange one because Dennis Leary was in a lot of things before this. I didn't realize he had been in so much prior to this.
That's right, yeah.
But this is such a minor character.
I know.
Very integral, but very little screen time and stuff.
Memorable, I think. Memorable.
Yeah, he is memorable, but very little screen time, which was surprising for an actor that had that much acting under his belt. Yeah, I went with the whole idea of him being, the rebel, living underground and anti-establishment, anti-authority and stuff like that. So I was originally thinking Jack Quaid. Obviously, the boy's quite, but I was like, I know, as I said, he was a big name before that, but I just think Jack Quaid's probably a bigger name than this role allows at this time. Then I was thinking of Matthew Lewis, but originally we had Greg as the judge of this. And I was like, Greg is not going to like Matthew Lewis because his only real thing is Harry Potter that he's known from when he played Neville.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not going to do too well. But I went with an old favourite in Will Poulter. I haven't used him in a while, but he is good at playing that little kind of rebellious guy, and he does take those smaller roles, even though he is starting to build. Like, he has a long list. There's a long list.
He won't be taking a smaller role now after Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Who's he playing in that? Who's he playing in that
After
Adam Warlock.
Yeah,
oh, cool.
He probably won't. But
yeah, he's Adam Warlock.
Yeah.
Hold on a minute. Who's that? Holt is playing him.
Poulter.
Will Poulter.
Will Poulter. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
But up until now, like, he has a long list of films that he's been in, but nearly everything he's been a side character, kind of like overlooked when he is used.
He's a good actor as well.
He is a very good actor. Yeah.
So my backup on this one, and sorry for the pronunciation, I had Nicolás Coster-Waldau, better known as Jaime Lannister.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
He was my backup there.
Looks similar to Dennis Leary as well, actually.
That's kind of where that came from.
Okay.
But what I went with, and I was really happy with it when I thought of it, I was like, it just suits it great. And it's not just because Dennis Leary was a comedian, but to incite all the rebels, who better than getting Bill Burr in there?
Oh, good show.
Get all the rebels, get everyone standing in behind him. We've seen he is moving into acting. He's just done it in Mandalorian. I think he'd suit that down to the absolute ground.
And he's not overly big.
Exactly, he's only building his name in acting.
Oh my God! So I'll tell you who Greg went with. His backup was Sam Worthington.
Yeah, he loves Sam.
Okay,
yeah. And his
name is about to blow up again now after the new Avatar.
Due to what?
The new Avatar coming out.
Oh yeah.
I don't know about that. That might
it definitely is. It's the reviews are coming out. Fantastic.
But the first one had great reviews and it was shit as well. So
yeah, I wasn't a fan of it.
Fair.
Anyway, Greg picked Jai Courtney.
Jai Courtney. Okay. The man with the best agent in the universe.
Yeah. So
man has as good an agent as Chupa Motang.
Fellas, I would have definitely went with Poulter.
Yeah.
Until I heard Bill Burr. That's a good casting.
Again, Bill Burr.
Cool.
Just quite old. 54.
How old was Dennis Leary in that?
36.
Right.
My whole cast is kind of aged up a little bit. That's my whole cast is like that.
And do you know something? This is the first time I'm not thinking about age, and I'm just thinking who'd fit.
Age doesn't really matter for especially that role.
No.
Well, you see, the only reason that age does matter is that the older you make all of your cast, the more likely they are that they were alive and knew John Spartan as a police officer and lived through the times of where crime was an actual thing. Whereas a lot of these characters are meant to live through a time where crime just wasn't a thing. So the older they are, the more likely it is that they did live through the crime. And that's part of what I felt I had to keep in line with the whole time I was doing this.
Okay. Sure. Well, I'm going to go with Carl on this one. I do like both strong picks, but unfortunately I have to pick one.
Yeah.
So, Carl, you're 2-zip at the minute.
Okay, I'll take it.
Okay, we're on to Dr. Cocktail, who was Nigel Hawthorne, great actor.
Nigel Hawthorne, perfect,
brilliant actor.
Quite simple. I went with Christoph Waltz.
Okay. Greg had that as his backup, just so you know.
I just think Christoph Waltz would be great for that. I just do.
Okay.
Yeah,
Come on, Ted.
It's
Pull
not
it
a-
out of the fore here.
I had two backups here. So the first one I had was Martin Freeman, who I think could play it quite well, but I wasn't sold on him. The other one was Alec Baldwin, but I didn't really buy him as that role either.
I'm glad you didn't say that.
And
Yeah.
so I went with someone because the whole character is that he's someone who's trying to gain control over the entire human race, basically. And I went with someone who's played things similar to that in Ed Harris. He tries to control what's going on around him. In the Truman Show, he has complete and utter control of everything.
Yeah.
Sure,
You do
that's
this,
what
you do
Christoph
this.
Waltz tries to do in Inglourious Bastard, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So let me just tell you, Greg's backups were Christoph Waltz and Martin Friedman. And
No way.
then
Jesus.
he went with Gary Oldman, who I personally think would have been too big for that role.
Well, Gary Oldman also can't
Gary
act.
Oldman's retired.
Yeah,
Well,
so
he hadn't retired when we were meant to.
that screwed me over, didn't it? Last time.
Yeah, well, Gary Oldman hadn't retired when we were first meant to be recording this, so
Right.
I would have accepted the fact that he had Gary Oldman, but now, yeah, Gary Oldman is unfortunately retired.
Yeah.
Right. So, just remind me again who you both picked. Carl, you picked
Christoph Waltz.
yes,
And
and
Ed Harris, who was the controller in the Truman Show and stuff like that.
yeah.
Quite a big name as well, and a lot of other things.
I love Christoph Waltz, but I think he'd be too good for this role. I
Okay,
think
no,
he'd
that's
be too good. So I'm gonna go with Ted on that one because Ed Harris is a good solid actor as well.
Yeah,
So Ted gets that one.
fair enough.
Okay.
Not going to argue against that one.
Yeah. They're all good picks again, lads. I'd rather just be the judge every week, you know. No, I wouldn't. I'm only messing, of course. I'm only messing. Next up is Garcia.
Benjamin
Alfredo
Bratt.
Garcia. This one was tough because
Yes.
he's not really up to anything at all. He's just kind of there. The only thing I went with on this was that he's meant to be of Hispanic descent in Garcia. So my backup was Michael Pena, who I just felt a little too old because, again, as I said, I wanted to keep these quite young. And I went with someone who's kind of been a bit of a side character and stuff like this in Tony Revolori, who kind of plays those side characters and is a little bit jokey and stuff like that.
What's he in again?
He was
Spider-Man and stuff like that.
Yeah, he was the bully in Spider-Man
Yeah.
Homecoming.
He was he Flash or something like that? Was he Flash Thompson? No.
Yes.
Yeah.
I went with Diego Luna.
Diego.
Who-
I'm just checking these
he-
guys.
Cassian Andor. If you've seen
I haven't watched
or-
Andor yet.
Either way.
If you've watched Rogue One, he was
I've seen him
he was in Rogue One.
That's the
Right,
only
yeah.
thing I know him in.
He was
Rogue One.
the lead male in Rogue One.
Yeah, that'd be the only thing I know him from. I don't know him in anything else.
He's great. He is a really good actor, and he is building
Yeah.
his name. As I said, he just had his breakout hit there in Andor itself. He was in
Oh.
Narcos.
Yeah, I haven't watched Narcos either myself, so I can only judge him off
Yeah.
Rogue One.
He was
Yeah, I
actually
think
in the Terminal and with Tom Hanks in 2004.
He must
He
have
Yeah.
was one of the.
Was he really?
Yeah,
young
he was
then?
in.
Yeah.
He would. Yeah. He would have been a lot younger in that.
Oh, was he
film,
was
but,
one of the cleaners or something? That was
Yeah, he was one of the kitchen guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay. I like both of them as well. But let's see who Greg went with. For his backup, he went with Pedro Pascal.
Pedro Pascal. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Mandalorian.
Yeah,
Too big of a name for that.
Bit
but
big,
that
yeah.
I think, yeah.
definitely. And he went with a wait, I can't even read my own writing. Kevin Alejandro, I think, from a thing called Lucifer.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
I know. Yeah.
Okay, so obviously it's not clashing with our ignorance, nothing's known there. I am going to go with Tony Revolori because I do like him.
Yeah, he plays that kind of
That's fair.
side comedy character
Yeah.
quite well.
Yeah, and
And you've tied it up, Ted. You've tied it up.
Yeah. I could be in
So-
trouble. I could be in trouble here though,
well,
because
these are the three big ones now.
yeah, well, I think
Yeah.
Spartan and Phoenix, we could both. There could be a lot of
It
draws
can
there.
go either way.
Well, there's no going to be draw. I wouldn't be surprised to see draws there, and Huxley. I don't know. Could go either way. Yeah.
Well, let's find out. Let's go with Huxley now, and that's Sandra Bullock. Good girl.
Andy B.
Good girl.
Wasn't a big name at this time, though.
In this.
Stunning.
She was building it. She was building her name.
Was
I
this
think it's
Philip or before
after
Speed, was it?
This, I think this is before Speed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Before Speed, yeah.
So like I think it's kind of after
God.
this is when she became the big name that she is today. Like she wasn't that name just yet.
No. She on the cusp of it, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah, like she was still just getting there, sort of thing at that point.
Yeah.
I went here with it is me, isn't it?
Yeah, you here? Yep.
Yeah. I went with Anna de Armas.
Greg's favorite.
Yeah. Let's be honest, she's all of our favorites. You wouldn't kick her out of bed for leaving crumbs, anyway.
Yeah. Is she?
What was she in?
She was the latest Bond girl.
Right. Okay.
She was also the maid in Knives Out.
Oh yeah. Man, hell, we don't know the Bond film, but I don't know who's that.
Yeah,
Knives Out was brilliant.
I
loved Knives Out.
She was in Grey Man as well. Just
Grey Man. So she's another one that's building her name, and she is building her name up. So I think she'd do that really well.
Yeah.
I'm really happy with that pick, to be honest.
I was kind of struggling with this one, so I kind of went with the character being, a bit of a bit ditzy. You know what I mean? Like
she's very, very naive, I would say.
Very naive, but also very ditzy. Like she keeps getting the phrases wrong, like constantly just ending the phrases a second too early or using the wrong word at the end and stuff. So my backup was Saoirse Ronan, who I was using from her most recent film, where she does play that kind of character.
She does, yeah.
But I went with someone even smaller a name than that because I felt Saoirse Ronan was maybe a bit too big of a name for this. And I don't know if King will have watched the show. I don't know if Greg would have either. But she plays a bit of a fangirl, but also ditzy and stuff. Hayley Steinfeld from Hawkeye, who's kind of trying to take over for Hawkeye the whole time, but she keeps getting herself into messy situations and stuff.
No, I wouldn't be overly familiar with her.
That's the only thing I know her from is Hawkeye. Well, Bumblebee, I suppose I know her from, but
I like Hayley Steinfeld. She is another up and coming actress. She will be something big.
Yeah. I'll just tell you who Greg went with. He had as backups. He had Kaya Saldarino. Do you know that one?
I know who Kaya is.
Sam Weaving.
Samara Weaving.
Yeah.
And then he had Ellen Moriarty. From The Boys. What's her name? Starfires or Star?
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Starlight.
Starlight. That's it.
Yeah, Erin Moriarty. Yeah.
Yeah, that's who he had.
That's actually a good pick. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very good pick. I'm gonna go with Sherlock's pick only because I know her from one film and I'm not familiar with the other one.
Okay.
So I'm sorry about that.
No, I thought Hayley Steinfeld was a bit of a risky one because I didn't know if Greg would know her from much either.
Yeah.
But I really liked her as a pick, so I was like, I'm not going to bother changing it.
Yeah.
I was like, I really liked the pick, and I'd be annoyed if I changed away from her based on like, people might not know her, and then.
So it's not a case that you did a bad pick. It's just a case that I'm not overly familiar with her.
I think most people are like Bumblebee, Hawkeye, and then she's done a lot of voice work as well.
She was in the Pitch Perfect movies. Number 2 and 3.
Yeah, but I don't think anybody other than you.
Did you watch them, Sherlock? Did you?
course he
with
did.
my wife.
Oh
with my
my
wife.
God! Oh yeah, that's the excuse
Unfortunately.
always, isn't it? Yeah, yeah.
Unfortunately, she was also the
Oh, well, she was
the
in
edge.
True Grit, but she would have been very young in True
Very
Grit.
young.
She was very young in that. Edge of
Yeah.
17, she was in as well. That was meant to be really. It was very
Okay.
critically acclaimed.
I think she does Spider-Gwen's voice in the Spider-Man films.
Oh,
The animated.
The Spider-Verse ones.
Into
the
Spider-Verse.
Spider-Verse. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I doubt you have watched it, but Arcane, which is on Netflix.
Is it good?
It's a
It
show
was meant to
based
be
on
great.
Arcane was a show. It's a show based off League of Legends, which is a game, and she
Alright.
voices one of the characters in that. The
Right.
show is very good, even if you don't play League. But obviously, if you play the game, it's that
Brilliant.
bit better. Like, yeah, you
Yeah.
understand little bits more of it.
Okay. Well, sorry about that now, Teddy.
No, I knew it was a risky one. I knew coming into it, I was taking a risk with her.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you see, you're entering the another way. Like you guys are really, really more nerdy than I am when it comes to films. Like so,
Yeah.
you're always taking that risk with me, you know. But
No, but even with Greg, I think that one would have been a risk.
then I don't feel so bad.
It was a risk I just wanted to take because if I didn't win and then said, would I have won with this? And he'd say yes, I'd have been annoyed that I didn't use it because I think it's a better pick than Saoirse Ronan anyway.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, I like Steinfeld, so like,
Yeah,
I
knew
have
you'd
not
know who
used-
she was. I knew you'd know who she was.
I have
but
not.
was like,
I have not used her before because I knew that she may not have won me a point.
Yeah, I knew it was a risk, but I said it was one I had to take.
Well, fair play to you for sticking to your guns. Anyway, that's what I say.
I'm worried
Yeah.
that I'm going to draw out with Sherlock here on these two.
Oh,
I don't know. I had a couple of picks for Simon Phoenix. I'm not gonna lie.
I had a
Okay.
couple. I narrowed it down to 3, but I had a couple at one point. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Who you got?
So it's me, is it, for Phoenix?
Yeah.
So the backup, I had Jamie Foxx, but maybe a little bit too old.
Yeah, he was a backup for mine too.
John Boyega was a backup, because he can do those fight scenes and stuff. You know, you see him in Star Wars and stuff, and he's that sort of athletic build. He's not too bulky.
And he can play a crazy guy as well.
Yeah, but I went with the safe choice of Michael B. Jordan. Athletic guy, can do fight scenes, big name, great actor. That's what was needed here.
Okay. Before you go on, Carl,
Yeah.
I will just say that Greg only had one name,
I have a feeling it's going to be Michael B. Jordan.
and it was Michael B. Jordan. So
Yeah.
if you can persuade me to give you the point here, you know, it's game over,
Okay.
really.
Well, I did have a couple of backups, as I said. Jamie Foxx was one. Tyler James Williams was another, but I thought he might be a bit too young. I did have Mahershala Ali as a backup as well, and I think he would do it very well, but just like maybe not. But I did have John Boyega as my pick. I think he would do it absolutely phenomenally. We have seen him in action before. He was in Star Wars. And he can play these over-the-top characters as well. I don't know if you saw Attack the Block.
I love that film. Yeah,
I'll be honest. When I had him as a backup,
good in that.
When I had him as a backup, it was based more on Attack the Block, but I didn't know if people would have seen it, so I just stuck with Star Wars when I was saying it. But Attack the Block is the one that I originally thought.
Yeah, he was very good in Attack the Block, and I think he could take some of that into this. He can play the over-the-top character. I don't know if I've just recently seen him in The Woman King, and he was very good in that as well.
That came out of the cinema too quickly for me. I wanted to go see it, and then it was in and out of the cinema insanely quickly, and I don't know why.
Because
it looked like it should have been there for a while, sort of thing. You know, so I didn't rush.
It was good.
I didn't rush to it. I was like, I'll have time to. The type of film that is, it'll be there for a while, and then it wasn't. I was like, oh.
It's a historical film, isn't it? It's based on true events. Yeah,
based on a true event. Yeah. Well, loosely based. I can't imagine it was actually the way the film looks like, but
no, but it's very good. It is very, very good.
Cool.
Viola Davis is great.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Good actors. I'm gonna go with Michael B. Jordan because, as I said, Greg has that, and that's my default.
Yeah, I think he's a very safe pick for that role. Like, it really is.
Well, I mean, it levels it up at 3 each. So
if
you wanted it, this is the kind of match we wanted. I think. You know,
it is. Yeah. John Spartan could be a tough one though. There's
Well, we'll see.
lot of names that could go in here.
So
Yeah.
I had 3 names down for this.
I leveled
And
it
all
down
three-
to 3.
Yeah, and all 3 are going different ways. So
Similar, yeah.
the first name I had down was Jason Momoa. I was going for an action star, all out and out action star.
Okay.
But I was just like, I don't think he suits the role too well. He's not gritty enough.
He's the wrong kind of action.
Yeah.
Exactly. I then moved on to Miles Teller. I thought he might do it well, but then I
Too
was like,
small.
again, he's not. I was just thinking he's not gritty enough at all for
Yeah.
it. Because John Spartan, he's a good guy, but he's an arsehole.
Oh yeah.
So just literally thinking of that, a good guy who's an arsehole. And he did take over his role as Judge Dredd. I had Carl Urban.
Oh,
I thought you were gonna say somebody else, and I was like, I could be in trouble here because I could be drawn out here.
that's a good choice, man.
I
took over his role as Judge Dredd. He's taken Sly's roles before.
I had 3 names here as well, and surprisingly, none of them match to yours. Not one.
Right.
So first, I was thinking, bulk, big guy, can do the action things.
Big E.
Yeah.
Chris Hemsworth. I think Chris Hemsworth could do it, but again, same reason as Carl, a bit too clean.
Yeah.
Not the right kind of action I felt for Chris Hemsworth. The next one is somebody who I think could have done it, but I didn't think Greg would like it too much, in Dave Bautista. I think he could do that type, and I think Dave Bautista. I think he could do that very well, and I think he'd be such a big fan of those old style.
Yeah.
I know this is technically 90s, but it's an 80s style action. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think he would have been such a big fan of them that he'd stick to doing that. But I wanted someone who's played more of the leading role already. Although maybe not on the big screen as much. Very gritty, very dirty. The good guy, but definitely a complete arsehole that just destroys everything that gets in his path. Jon Bernthal from Punisher.
Oh.
And I really thought Carl was going to go there when he was like, gritty, just kind of destroys everything. I was like, yeah, Jon Bernthal, yeah.
Okay, fellas, let me just tell you who.
The only thing is, my argument against Jon Bernthal there, as much as he's good, I think John Spartan has a lot of personality on him there, and I think Carl Urban will outdo Bernthal on personality.
Possibly, but also Carl Urban
Bernthal's very
jacked.
straight. He's very, very. Carl Urban can be jacked. He was Judge Dredd, and he was fucking jacked.
Yeah, but he has to stay. He has to stay in the sort of shape that he is for the boys, which he's heavily involved in. So he's making that jump to being jacked is going to be more difficult for him now because he needs to maintain the size he is.
Yeah, but
He's still big in that as well.
He's relatively big.
But he has powers in that now, so I mean they can write that in.
He's relatively big, but he's not Stallone. Do you know what I mean?
Okay, fellas, I'll tell you who Greg went with. As his backups, he had Ryan Gosling.
No.
And Tom Hardy.
No.
Tom Hardy.
Greg has
even worse.
No, Tom Hardy is probably better than Ryan Gosling.
Oh, it is.
Of his size. Greg has fallen in love with Ryan Gosling over the last few weeks. He's really and Ryan Gosling, great actor and stuff. But I think ever since Greg won a point with Ryan Gosling,
wants him in everything.
He's had him in nearly everything. Absolutely loves it.
Yeah.
Well, can you guess who we went with as his pick?
I'm guessing it's one of these.
No, it's not one of these. No.
Okay.
Hemsworth?
No. I'll give you one. Have you an idea, Carl?
No.
Chris Evans.
Oh, of course he did.
He does like Chris Evans.
I thought you would have got that now, actually.
Now, I actually, before I pushed my list down, I had Chris Evans there.
I don't think he does it well, though. I don't think he suits it.
That's why I didn't feel he suited it all that well. I understand he can play kind of an arsehole at times, but when he plays an arsehole, he's an arsehole. He's not a good guy. He's an arsehole. And when he plays a good guy, he's a good guy. There's very few times I've ever seen him play an arsehole, but he's actually the good guy.
Yeah. So it's actually up to me then, unfortunately.
Seems to be, yeah.
Both very strong picks. Both very strong picks, but I'm actually gonna go with John Bernthal on that one.
Yes, he's
Yeah.
just too dirty, too
He's
gritty.
too gritty and dirty, and I like Carl Urban.
Yeah.
Like so, like those picks, there weren't none of those picks where I was like, oh yeah, that one's winning straight away. It was a case of, like they're both good picks in each way. So, unfortunately, your title run comes to
My
an end.
title run
Ralph.
is over.
I said at the start, Carl, you were foolish to pick an action film against me.
Yeah.
I pull them out of the bag when it gets to those big beefy lads.
Action Irving, huh?
I know what the fans want to see when they're watching big beefy lads wrecking shit.
Well, that was a very good episode, I must say, fellas. Congratulations to you, Ted.
Thank you.
And
Congrats.
yeah, absolutely.
We give it to Carl again to pick. He's 3
It's
films in
just
a row.
3 in a row I'm picking now. Well,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be an arsehole now.
Well, you were a bit of an well. As much as I enjoyed this film, it's again, it was Dodgeball was really tough to recast, as I said. So you were a bit of an arsehole there as well.
Yeah, but I'm gonna be a real big arsehole.
Okay.
This isn't one these are gonna enjoy recasting whatsoever.
Okay.
Because there's a certain character in which is going to be incredibly difficult to recast because of the actual actor who it is.
Okay.
You're recasting Good Will Hunting.
Oh, jeez. Oh, fucking
Thanks.
hell.
And I'm back on the game, am I?
You're back in.
You're
And Greg,
against Ted.
Greg will be judging. Oh, Jesus. How do you like them apples?
Oh,
I don't like them. I don't like them at all.
that's a parting shot for us right there, isn't it?
Try recasting Robin Williams, huh?
Oh my God. I give up.
That is gonna be a tough one, yeah.
Well,
Look, we were.
It's fun to recast it, but yeah,
it's a challenge for you. So I was gonna suggest it. And anyway, I had this down as the next one for a while. And anyway,
okay.
It just so happens it happened right now.
and you pull the trigger.
I pulled the trigger on it. So Good Will Hunting. Enjoy that, lads. For the first time, I will not be on your screens.
It'll be a while, yeah. But the big question is this the losing streak restarted?
Oh,
Will we see Carl fail for another 10 solid weeks? Is that going to happen again? That's the question.
Let's hope not.
I need to start
Let's
getting a
hope
few
not.
wins again.
But yeah, that's it for this week. Obviously, don't forget to like, share, follow, all that good stuff. Same for the boys over on the slab for all your horror needs. But until next week, good luck.
Adios.